Hello everybody and welcome to OKAPLAYS. I don't think I've ever said that one before. Well, I've said it once. This is a... Oh my god. This is a video that is really addressing this video. But I was checking some of Oka's comments, which I do sometimes, and I remembered that a lot of people asked me, alright, so here's how do you do this MMD reaction, how do you do models, just people asking about how I do OKAPLAYS. So what I usually start with is I get her to send me her audio, which, and screen recording, but I got her to send me, just a few minutes ago, some sample text, which sample text is, basically lorem ipsum, which she said is lorem ipsum. Great job. So usually I download that, it starts, and then I go into the program, but at the same time I Google lorem ipsum, or whatever she is reading. So here's lipsum.com. She either read this or she read this, and I hope she did not read this because this is in French. And that's gonna be hard to edit. So there, it's in my downloads folder, and I can put it into Camtasia. Camtasia, I meant to say Audacity. I almost called it Audible. So usually this... That is white noise. So what we want to do is we want to remove that. So usually I go to Effect, Noise Reduction, Get Noise Profile, select on the audio, repeat noise reduction. So this gets rid of all that nasty white noise. That was before the video. So let's listen to the entire audio file and see what we hear. Also, usually what I do is I will delete the tail and the head of the, that's what I call it, of the audio file, which gives me
this is the test that you asked for OKAPLAYS' lorem ipsum. Lorem ipsum is simply dummy text of the printing and typesetting industry. Lorem ipsum has been the industry standard dummy text ever since the 1500s, when an unknown printer took a galley of type and scrambled it to make a type specimen book. It has survived not only 5 centuries, but also the leap into electronic typesetting, remaining essentially unchanged. It was popularized in the 1960s with the release of the Letraset sheets containing lorem ipsum passages.
Oh, hush.
And more recently with desktop publishing software.
Anyways, that's it. So then what I do, it's all good. So I'll delete the, holy shit. I'll delete this text. And then I'll export it into her folder and probably rename it. So what I usually do is add underscores wherever there are spaces, and then put Oka at the beginning of it. That's just because I edit for a lot of other channels, and I can usually... Oh my god! Everybody is damn... So then, what you do, or what I do, these are all the people that I edit for currently. That's actually a lot of people, and I should probably stop, but I'm not. So it's right here. It's a WAV file, and that's the only file that Camtasia will read. So I also have a folder called Pictures, which has all the PNGs and a template for these. Now I need to delete that because that was a test. So here's my new file, and I'll select all these images, drag them into Camtasia. And then at the same time, I will add in lorem ipsum. So I don't want this.
This is the test that you asked.
Her asking, or telling me that it's a test. So I will delete that part and drag it to the beginning.
Lorem ipsum is...
So I only have Oka's voice. So usually I use normal 2. Let's delete that a little bit further in. And I'll make a how I did the models later.
Lorem ipsum is simply dummy text of the printing and typesetting industry.
So what I do every time she stops a sentence, change that to normal 2.
Lorem ipsum has been the industry standard dummy text ever since the 1500s, when an unknown printer took a galley of type and scrambled it to make a type specimen book.
Now here she took literally no breaths. I usually do it after breaths or pauses. So here it looks like there's a pause right there, so we'll see.
It has survived not only 5 centuries, but...
Yes. Whenever she takes a little breath, we're gonna change the picture.
But also the leap into electronic typesetting remaining essentially unchanged.
And you could hear her take a tiny bitty breath right there, but that I'm not gonna count that.
It was
Usually I treat it as a comma. So right there she kinda tripped over her words. And I think I have a nerve, but yeah.
It was popularized in the
So I'm gonna cut that, put nervous down.
19...
And then replace that with the same normal that we had before. So
It was popularized in the 19... In the 19...
I want to make that shorter.
19... It was popularized in the 19...
And then I've decided that I don't like it. So then I'm gonna keep it the way that I had it. So then here's the edited audio with the photos over it.
Lorem ipsum is simply dummy text of the printing and typesetting industry. Lorem ipsum has been the industry standard dummy text ever since the 1500s when
And you already know how that goes.
It has survived not only 5 centuries, but also the
So usually what I do is I select all of it and bring it up a track. So that there's a track right there. And I'm just gonna drag in neighborhood 4. Bring the audio down some. And you got yourself a root tootin' deal down here. And then you got yourself an OKAPLAYS episode.
Lorem ipsum is simply dummy text of the printing and typesetting industry. Lorem ipsum has been the industry standard dummy text ever since the 1500s.
Maybe turn it down a little bit. That's a bit loud.
When an unknown printer took a galley of type and scrambled it to make a type specimen book. It has survived not only 5 centuries, but also the leap into electronic typesetting remaining essentially unchanged. It was popularized in the 1960s with the release of the Letraset sheets containing Lorem ipsum passages, and more recently with desktop publishing software like Alidus PageMaker, including versions of Lorem ipsum.
Never cut it off at the knees. Music. Never do that. You always fade it out from a point.
PageMaker, including versions of Lorem ipsum.
And actually, for practical purposes, I think...
This is the test that you asked for OKAPLAYS' Lorem ipsum. Lorem ipsum...
There we go. So, then usually what I do is I produce and share in 1080p, and then I will put this out into YouTube, OKAPLAYS done, and save it as Lorem, and then I'll be right back when this thing renders.
This is the test that you asked
And then there you go.
for OKAPLAYS' Lorem ipsum. Lorem ipsum is simply dummy text.
So, I usually click finish, and sometimes if it's an episode, I'll scan to see if I can find a background image that I like, but there are no background images, so I'm just gonna close this out, not even gonna save it. And then we have the thumb folder, so I'll go into Photoshop. Also, don't mind my background. This is... And then, okay, we'll wait for that to load. Colorful lady. So what I usually do for Oka is I go into YouTube, because I have all control, well, not all control, she has all control of her channel, but I do have permissions. So we'll go to upload video. Look at the shit she watches, oh my god. And we'll go into done, because it is finished. We'll go into, I just need to delete that all in all. Lorem. We'll just put that microphone test. And while that's uploading, we're gonna make the thumbnail. There's not much, and then we will scale that down. Put parentheses, and then maybe change the spacing of the text. So I want to change that to where it does that. There we go. We'll fold that back in. Actually, it needs to go into this one. And then I can actually skip. Alright, cool. Thanks, Mom. And then I can do that. It shouldn't, I mean, it's just a test. So, here we go, and then this is test voice PNG, large image, always. Quit out of that, I usually don't save icons. So, then custom thumbnail. That's probably the best thing YouTube's ever come up with. It's custom thumbnails. And then when we save that draft, we can go here. Jesus Christ. And there we go. And that is it for OKAPLAYS. This is a 15-minute long video that I have to edit. Probably won't even be that long. But thank you guys so much for watching this. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to support Oka on Patreon and on YouTube. She has a Patreon. And it really helps me out because I'm able to actually pay for my editing software. Because when you don't have a software, then you don't have OKAPLAYS. So thank you guys a lot just for supporting her in general. She's almost at 1,000 subscribers. So subscribe. Recommend your friends and family or whatever. Don't recommend your family. That'd be odd. I mean, you can, but not like your uncle from Yukon. Anyways, that's it from me. Sorry that there hasn't been a lot of episodes coming out. She just moved to Oregon, and it's been chaotic. So give her some slack. She'll start in a bit. Thank you guys again, and I'll see y'all later.